Hello friends, this video on Nuclei Part 9 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till Part 8 before going ahead with Part 9. Important topic that is called radioactivity. Now since we are talking about nucleus in this lesson, so it is very important that we talk about radioactivity. Why? Because as I mentioned, when we plotted the curve for binding energy per nucleon with mass numbers, what did we see? We saw that when the mass numbers becomes very high, for very high mass numbers, the nucleus becomes unstable, and those unstable nuclei show a phenomenon which is known as radioactivity. And this phenomenon has many practical applications which we will discuss in the later half of the chapter. So to start with, let us see what is radioactivity. Since it is a phenomenon which is shown by nucleus, therefore we are studying it in this lesson. So what is radioactivity? It is a nuclear phenomenon in which an unstable nucleus undergoes decay to form stable nuclei. That means you remember the plot of binding energy per nucleon, where I told you that for heavier nuclei, since the binding energy is less, the nucleus is less stable. So what it does, it splits into lighter nuclei which are relatively more stable, right? And that is how it tries to gain little stability. So such kind of phenomenon is basically referred to as radioactivity. So this radioactivity is also a nuclear phenomenon in which an unstable nucleus undergoes decay to form stable nuclei. Now, exactly which nuclei? I mean, is it that all nuclei will show radioactivity? No, it is not like that. Only certain nuclei which are unstable will show these kind of phenomenon. This phenomenon was discovered by a scientist named Henry Becquerel somewhere around 1896. Now, how Becquerel discovered this phenomenon was also quite interesting. So it was kind of accidentally that Becquerel was able to discover this phenomenon of radioactivity. He was actually working on a different topic. He was basically trying to perform experiments on fluorescent objects, right? So he believed, he had this hypothesis that there are certain fluorescent objects. And before that, let me tell you what is fluorescence. What do I mean when I say fluorescence? It means that when light falls on an object, that object will also emit some visible light. Let us suppose you have an object here. So when visible light or when sunlight falls on it, this object will also emit some light. So this property of this object is called fluorescence, and the object is said to be a fluorescent object. Now, Becquerel had this hypothesis. He thought that such objects, they emit visible light, but along with visible light, they emitted some other kind of radiation as well. But he didn't know what kind of radiation it was. In fact, he was not even sure whether they emitted some other kind of radiation or not. It was just a hypothesis which he had. He assumed that they emit some other kind of radiation as well. So now, in order to see this experimentally, he had an experimental setup. What did he do? He took a photographic plate. He placed it inside a box like this. And then he took some object. For example, he took a metal, right? And then he allowed this rays of the sun to fall on this metal. Now, since this box inside which the photographic plate is kept, the box is actually opaque. So the box will not allow the rays of the light to pass through it. Therefore, when the photographic plate is developed, it should be plain. There should be no traces on the photographic plate because the sun rays will not reach the photographic plate at all. Now, when he placed this object, he took some fluorescent object and placed it over this box. So now what will happen? When light will fall on this object, if the object is fluorescent, it will give out the light. It will give out again some light. Then what he did, he again took out the plate, photographic plate which was placed inside the box and developed it, and he saw that there the trace was normal. I mean, the photographic plate was normal. There was no image or no mark seen on the photographic plate. So now he tried this experiment with different objects, right? Now instead of, first he took some metal, then he took some other object and again performed the same experiment. So when he developed the film, again he saw that there were no spots found on the film. So what was it proving? It was proving that there is the sunlight is falling. The sunlight is the only ray which is getting emitted here. And since the plate is covered with an opaque object, therefore the sunlight is not able to reach the plate. Right? So he was thinking that maybe his hypothesis is wrong. So he was trying this experiment with many different compounds. He tried with some metals, he tried with some other kind of elements, some other compounds as well. But everywhere he was seeing that the result was turning out to be almost the same. Then he took some compound of uranium that is called uranium potassium sulfate. So this time he observed something different. So he used uranium potassium sulfate. So this was the substance which he used. And then what did he observe? Now this time when he developed the photographic plate, he saw a black spot on the photographic plate. There was some spot present on the photographic plate. What does this mean? This means that there has been some radiation emitted from somewhere which could reach this photographic plate. So now his question was, from where was this radiation emitted? Right? Because he was not able to understand whether this radiation was emitted because of the presence of the sunlight or the reaction of the sunlight with this compound, or since this compound was also made up of different elements, like it had uranium, it had potassium, it had sulfur. So he actually didn't know from where did this radiation generated. So for that, in order to get an answer to this question of his, what did he do? He kept a blade over the box, because earlier just above the box he kept the compound, that is uranium potassium sulfate. This time he kept a blade and above this he placed uranium potassium sulfate, and then he repeated the same experiment. So this time when he developed the photographic plate, to his surprise he saw that the pattern of the blade was seen on the photographic plate. That means the radiation was emitted by this object. So the radiation was emitted by the uranium potassium sulfate. So he became sure of one point, that who generated the radiation. So now he knew that. Now his next question was, is it because of the presence of sunlight that this radiation got generated, or that this radiation can be generated even in absence of sunlight? So now what happened while he was performing this experiment? Suddenly, accidentally it so happened that the day was not that sunny. So he had to stop his experiment, because till then he was assuming that sunlight was something which is mandatory for him to carry out his experiment. So what did he do? When there was no sunlight, he performed the same experiment. And to his surprise, this time also, the result which he's obtained was the same. That means this time also, when he developed the photographic plate, he could see the same image or the same impression of the blade coming on the photographic plate. So now he concluded that the radiation was emitted by this uranium potassium sulfate, and also the radiation was emitted from this compound even in absence of sunlight. So sunlight was not playing any role in this. So he concluded from this, and then he did lot of research on this compound, and he found that it was uranium alone which was responsible for the emission of this radiation. So this is how radioactivity was discovered. So from there he discovered that there are certain elements which emit radiation on its own. I mean, even if uranium is kept on its own, you don't give any specific experimental setup is not required for that. Uranium, whenever left on its own, will emit some radiations. So this phenomenon was later named as radioactivity. Thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.